Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
It's kind of like, I call it squeezing the cactus. Why would you squeeze a cactus? You're going to hurt yourself. And it's similar to raging at the TV screen when a referee makes a bad call. And it's only putting toxins in your body. You're the only one getting hurt by it.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Discover and unlock your potential in Suzanne Roberts' book and documentary, It's Deeper Than That, Pathway to a Vibrant, Purposeful, and Liberated Life. You are guided to reconnect with the self-renewing energy at your core, where clarity returns, purpose ignites, and your life expands beyond what you thought was possible. Learn more at unifingsolutions.com. Hi, Connie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yay, I am so excited. So I've known you for several years. You're local here to Colorado, so I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person. We've worked together a few times, and I am so excited for what you got going on. So why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
First of all, for years, I thought your last name was Spark.
You're not the only
And
one.
I thought, I was out walking this morning. I'm like, she should change her name to Spark because she is a spark and she sparks in enthusiasm and in people. So tell your husband you're changing your name.
Maybe one day.
One day. All right. So yes, me. So my name is Connie Warden. I live in Littleton, Colorado, and I'm a new author. My background is I'm an acupuncturist. I'm a yoga nut. So I teach yoga online. And I love anything in the indigenous cultures. That's kind of my passion, one of my passions. And right now I am really excited about my book, which was years of self-doubt and now no. So that's nice.
Yay. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, tell us more about your background, in health and helping people, and then getting to the point where you're publishing this book. And obviously, we're going to talk more about the book, but I always like the backstory.
Sure. Yeah. I think I started yoga when I was about 16 years old, and it really changed the trajectory of my life. And I think that's where it all started. And I really enjoy, again, the indigenous culture. So I got my master's in oriental medicine and really enjoy the 5 elements. I still enjoy learning about like shamanic healing. And I teach meditation and mindfulness. So here I was on the road one day, and I was such a jerk. And, for a person working on themselves, and I know all the people that you have on this podcast are people who work on themselves, find something they do and they think, that's not who I want to be. That's whether it's that gal who got into finances because she was so poor and in debt. So this just sparked me to do something and figure out a way to use what I do, what I teach on the road in the car. And, it's such a universal experience. It's hard.
It is. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I love that. First, that self-awareness, because many people are out there in the world teaching certain things, and then in their own personal life, they're living something else. And I think for those of us with parents or caretakers, we're the first people to kind of notice that, and now I see it as a mom. I just had a little bit of a falling out with one of my kids the other day, and I didn't like the way that I reacted, and I felt very, very bad about it. And then I was like, that's why I'm so grateful for my kids, because they are this mirror of, you can't act like this, you're this person here, but then you have this other attitude. So I love that you had that realization of, here I am, this Zen person, and then we act differently, which obviously we're flawed and there will be moments, but I love that you picked up on something so mundane, like you said, that's so relatable, which is having not so pleasant experiences on the road, and there's only more cars and more people and more traffic, and it's just insanity. So tell us more about that experience and what sparked then what you share in the book, and how people can use these moments, whether it is on the road or with friends or whoever, to change what they do.
Yeah. I think first we've got to recognize, right? We got to recognize this is not what we want to do, because some people don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend whose brother would said, I think I'm going to keep a gun in the car and aim it at somebody when they're stupid. And I'm like, wow, okay. By the way, this book wouldn't be for that person.
Yeah.
They don't care anyway.
Yeah.
So I was going to do some self-care. It was a beautiful day in July. And I'm like, I'm going to go take care of myself. I'm going to get my paddleboard, go down to the Chatfield State Park and put my paddleboard in and zen out. I was so excited. And on my way to the park, I get behind somebody who was wearing a red light, and then it turns green. And this person doesn't move. Not at all. Like you didn't even try. And so I'm like, oh, I go around this car looking at them pretty angrily, like, what is your problem? And then it hit me. It was like one of those intuitive hits where I knew what was happening. And mom is in the passenger seat, daughter is in the driver's seat, possibly trying to go out driving for the very first time. I mean, that's what I got. And she was so scared she was afraid to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like I just kind of sneaked around like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And that was the incident where I said, this is not who I want to be. This is not how I want to behave. I've been a mom with a daughter in the car. And yeah, and that's what sparked it all.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's that recognition of, I don't want to continue being this way. But then obviously there's a road to, okay, so what are the steps and what do I do? And that's more of what you share in the book. First of all, tell us the name of the book and where can people find it, and then we'll dive in a little more.
Okay. Well, I really thought for years it was going to be called How to Be a More Mindful, Kindful Driver.
Mm.
As I worked with my book coach, she said, let's just, get some other ideas. And so it ended up being called Speeding to Compassion, Life Lessons and Humor to the High Road.
Okay.
I have to add humor because, again, we're all flawed. We're all flawed in some way.
Mm.
And if we can bring a little humor to that and still keep working towards being better,
Yeah.
It's so much easier to have that humor.
Yeah, I love the play on words too. Speeding to compassion for ourselves, right? Because we are flawed, but also for people, which is exactly what you felt that day. Oh, goodness. She's going through something that you absolutely understand as a mom, as a driver, right? And then the high road, taking the high road. That is so good.
Mm.
I love it. Okay, so let's keep going here. So once you recognize, oh crap, I don't want to act like this. This is not the person that I want to be. Where do you go from there?
And I think the people that will like this book are the people who know they leave a weight regardless. And so there's just something inside you that wants to go, yeah, I don't want to leave that kind of weight.
Yeah.
And I'll say the question again. I think I may have gone off.
What is the next step after you recognize, I don't want to be this way or do this?
Yes. Recognizing it, of course, is always the first one. And having the desire to drive more healthy, because again, everything I try to do has to do with health
Yeah.
and spirituality, really. And so the first step is recognizing it. The second step would be there's got to be a why.
Mm,
Otherwise, who cares?
right.
And if your why is, I want to leave a better wake and I want to be a better person, then that's great. Now you have a reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I give a lot of different tips about a little different tips that can be supportive. But the biggest one is that we're storytelling out there. We are making up stories about people.
Yes.
And we do that in life all the time
Mm,
because we don't often have enough information to really know what a person's going through.
yep.
And so if you can go, oh, that's a story I'm telling myself, that this is a really old person, they should get off the road. We don't know. We can't really see them. They're turning the corner too slow. So maybe they got plants in the car. So maybe make up a story.
Yep.
Something that you do. Like I always go slow when I've got my plants in my car or I'm getting the garden.
Yeah.
Is I go slow around the corners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
That's such a good point in terms of the stories because you're right. And it's a good reminder. I think we all have experienced this where something similar to what you just mentioned of, being in that red light of I was telling myself the story of this person's an idiot and they need to move. And then once you see, oh, that's not what's happening, wow, I was telling myself the wrong story. So are you saying that we can choose the story we're telling ourselves and therefore we can choose a better story, even if it's not really what's going on, because we can't really know what's going on most of the time?
yes, and that's where awareness comes in, and it's practicing, going, oh, is that a story? Oh, I think oh, maybe it isn't, but
Right.
we do tell ourselves stories all the time.
Yeah.
Even just like you get a text, and we don't know if they said it angrily or not, or if
Yeah.
it can cross.
Hmm.
We just do it all the time,
Yeah.
all the time.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. So
and
reminding
so yes, we
ourselves
can choose.
that we are doing it. And yeah, absolutely with like message, I think that's a hard thing when it's written text because you don't know if they were mad. Why did you put a period and not an exclamation point? Where we read into it so much, where we could either choose a better story or maybe ask better questions as well to figure out what people are thinking or feeling. And like you said, it is practice. So what do you recommend for people that are like, okay, no, I get that, and I will work on reminding myself, but we will probably still mess up. And I know, like, speaking from experience with just doing something that I knew not to do with my kids. So we were playing with my kids yesterday, and then being like, crap, I shouldn't have acted that way. Well, what do we do when we mess up, Connie?
Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
And that's where that self-compassion comes in. And that's where the inner critic comes in.
Mm,
And it does take a muscle to go, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to actually repair it.
mm,
Go, okay, I did something. I don't like it the way I did it. Can I repair that? And I do it differently.
mhm,
And that's if I ever see that young lady and I did that too, I think I would start crying.
mm,
Because it broke my heart.
yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah,
I think we all do. This is why it's such a universal experience. Who hasn't done something that they regret it?
yeah.
And again, I have to keep telling this story. Do I wince almost every single time? Yeah, I'm not proud of it.
Mhm,
And yet I still can have the courage to
mhm.
go and yes, I'm human.
Right. But also, do you notice that the more you're able to recognize these stories and then choose the high road, choose a better story, it gets easier to do it more and more and become a little more zen as well? What do you think?
Absolutely. It's like this muscle that you use. I'll tell you, it's an interesting story from where I was working at OsteoStrong, and it's this place that builds bone.
Mm,
And these members were quitting. And we have this little fob that we use on the machine that sets it up. And so there was these two ladies that I thought were very angry. They were leaving. It was their last time there, and they were throwing the fob away into the garbage, like doing like a little dance and throwing it away. And I'm like, wow, they're really angry. And I dropped the story
mm,
because what am I going to do with that? You know,
yeah.
until somebody else told me that they told them, oh, we don't need that fob. Go ahead, throw it away, do some ceremony and
Mm,
throw it away.
wow.
And so I said, oh my gosh, I had a whole different view of that. I
Mm,
didn't know that's what you told them, and I thought they were angry. So it was so cool that I got to see that the story I made up was totally wrong,
yeah.
but also that I did drop it. I didn't complain to anybody. I just let it go. And I thought, I wonder why they're so mad.
Hmm. Wow. And there you go. It wasn't that at all. It's like I've seen this meme sentence, whatever, on social media so much. And it's a great reminder. Like, let's be kind to each other because you don't know what battle somebody else is fighting. And this happens especially in traffic. So I love that you use that because it's like, I don't know if they're late for something or if they're running to the hospital, right? And some people are just doing this to be jerks. But we can choose to be like, I don't know what they're going through, and I'll just be kind. And if more people chose that high road, we would have better days, right?
I think most importantly, it hurts us more than anybody.
Hmm.
Getting angry and even if it's not total raging,
Yeah.
just getting angry. I heard Brene Brown. I hope everybody knows her.
Yeah.
How about she's like driving and her kids are in the car, and so she gave somebody the finger underneath the wheel
Oh,
because she, yeah, okay, even Brene Brown, right?
yeah.
And it's kind of like I call it squeezing the cactus.
Mm,
Why would you squeeze a cactus? You're going to hurt yourself.
right.
And it's similar to raging at the TV screen when a referee makes a bad
Mm,
call. It doesn't gonna change anything,
yeah.
and it's only putting toxins in your body. You're the only one getting hurt by it. And so that was the other really strong aspect about why I wanted to not do this,
Hmm.
not have the junk going on in the head, the
Yeah.
stories I'm making up, only to have drop toxins in my body.
Hmm. Hmm. There's a whole health aspect that I think people don't realize. And that's the tricky thing is that it's hard to see your feelings as actual chemicals that are creating potential ailments. And you know this as a wellness expert, how everything is so interconnected. So I'm sure that's a huge part of why you do what you do is because you see the effects on the body as well and the health.
Well, that's why it could have been very embarrassing and shameful. Uh, but I've worked on that inner critic
Mhm.
going, you're not going to get me, but I'm going to change.
Yeah. Mhm. And what a vulnerable thing for you to do as well, to admit that you have those flaws. And like you said, we all do, but for whatever reason, at times we think we need to pretend that we're different from the rest of the world so that people will respect us more. And speaking of Brene Brown, that vulnerability, which is so courageous, is what makes all the difference to say, hey, I do this, you do this. I will be the voice that points it out so that we can be kinder and we can speed into compassion. So thank you for doing that, for reminding us by putting this work out there and sharing your stories vulnerably. What do you have up next now that you got the book out? Congratulations! I know it's a big feat. Um, what are you doing? What's the new project or what's coming up?
I am writing more, and I'm using my creativity.
Hmm,
I do like, I've got some fiction stories
okay.
in in the, in my pocketbook.
Yeah.
Um, and one has to do with golf.
Ooh.
So it's a made up story, but golf, boy, there's so many lessons to learn about life on the golf course.
I love that.
So it's going to be humorous and funny, but some humanity in it. It's
Yeah.
it's hard, and you have to be able to let things go.
Mhm.
That last hit was bad. You got to let it go, or the next one's going to be bad too. And so that's what's in the works for me.
Okay, I love that. I love how we can find so many metaphors, like with driving, but also with different sports. Like I picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over a year ago, and oh my gosh, the different lessons you learn about life in yourself by doing a sport, like it's crazy to think about, but it's because it challenges you, right? And the stories you tell yourself, oh my gosh, like I failed here. This person thought this, right? They're judging me. They're criticizing me. I suck. So it's encouragement to pick up a sport. But I love the idea of the fiction and having people reflect because that's what it's all about, right? Love that. So we'll have to stay tuned and wait around for it. Before I ask you how people can connect with you, obviously, besides checking out your book on Amazon, which we'll put the link in the show notes, I love asking all my guests my $1,000,000 question. Are you ready? Connie, what is an empowered woman to you?
I almost said it throughout this conversation. I whittled it down to one word:
Mm.
courageous.
Mm.
The empowered woman is extremely courageous, and they go above and beyond their self-doubt, their inner critic, the fact that they're flawed. And one of the definitions of courageousness is the opposite of conformity.
Mm.
And it's really hard. It's so much easier to conform, but the empowered woman is going to be authentic, and it will take just a lot of courage.
Yeah. I love that. That is so true. And I always say that my guests usually describe themselves. And you just did with being brave to tell your story, right? And encourage others and be vulnerable, but in a playful way. I really appreciate that because we need more humor in this life to, keep things joyful and playful. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. How can people connect with you? Where do you hang out the most?
Probably my website
Okay.
is it's just conniewarden.com. But I'm on Facebook. Those are all my Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. They're all Connie Warden. And I actually would love to hear if when people read the book, because I'm also going to give a discount for your people.
Nice.
I would love to hear how it's helped you. I read all of my emails, and I just would ask you to let me know, because that's the only reason why I ended up writing and actually putting the book out, was because my editors were getting information and using it.
Oh, that is so powerful. And it's so helpful as an author to get that feedback and see how people are enjoying it and applying it to their lives. So I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was great. I'm excited for you in publishing more things and sharing more stories and sharing good stories, speaking good stories, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Marta, for having me. And I'm glad I know your real last name now.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.